Hi there, my name is Nicholas. I'm a professional math tutor, and today I'd like to talk to you about what to expect in geometry. Now let's get down to it. So the first thing I want to say is that you might not have to take geometry at all. Sort of. So one thing I want to point out is that a lot of schools now are going to a Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, Math 4 kind of setup. And it used to be that everyone took Algebra 1, then Geometry, and then Algebra 2. But if you're in a school that's doing the whole Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, Math 4 thing, you'll find that you're going to have a little bit of geometry every year, rather than the geometry being all lumped in 1 year. So what I'm saying here will still apply, but it'll apply just to like one unit instead of the entire year. Now, this is obvious, but the first thing you should expect in geometry is a bunch of shapes, because that's what geometry is about. And you're going to be learning all about these different shapes and all their properties and all the angles and how to figure out angles and relations of different shapes. There's a ton about circles. There's a ton about triangles, more than you ever thought you could do with all these shapes. So that's the first thing to expect, and to know that geometry is very visual. Unlike before, where you'd get a math problem, it would just be like one line of text with some numbers and letters in it. Geometry is very visual, so there's going to be these big figures that you have to manipulate and work with. Now, that's also why some people either like geometry more than algebra or less, because it's very different and the way it's taught is very different. So that's also something you should keep in mind. You might love it. You might love geometry, or you might hate it. You might find that you're really good at algebra, but geometry is just crazy and you're not prepared for it and you're struggling. If that's true, it might kind of come to a shock to you if you're normally pretty good at math. It might also come as a shock to you if you don't really like math or you don't feel very good at it, and all of a sudden geometry kind of makes sense, because it does kind of require a different part of the brain, so to speak. So be prepared for that. Be prepared for it to be just completely different than any other math class you've ever taken. There's one thing that's unique about geometry, and that is proofs. So this will be the first time that you've ever done proofs, probably. And you'll want to be prepared for those, because they can be pretty tricky. And often they're the unit in your geometry class that is the hardest. And so just be aware of that, and keep in mind that you might need to spend a little extra time studying in that unit. Finally, one big thing you have to worry about, and I shouldn't say worry, but one big consideration, one thing I want to make you aware of is, unlike in just about any other math class, there is a ton of vocab in geometry. So you have to think about math class a little differently. A lot of times you don't have much vocab in math, and you're not used to studying vocab words. You're used to it in history maybe, and definitely English, and maybe biology or something. But it doesn't occur to you to study the vocab. And I've had a lot of students come to me because they're struggling in their geometry class and they're not studying their vocab and they're not doing well on their tests because of it. So make sure that you're taking that into account, because there's a ton of it in geometry. Now, finally, if this is overwhelming, if you're worried about taking geometry, or if you just started, or if you're in the middle of it and you're struggling and you'd like to work with me one-on-one to help, please do. Please feel free to reach out. In the description below is a link where you can go to my website and you can have your parents fill out a form, and we can schedule a free talk, a free one-on-one phone conversation about how I can help build a plan for success for you and ensure success. And I think that's about it. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.